Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Yvonne Priest Show. I am Yvonne Priest, your little ray of darkness, and today we are talking to internationally renowned horror director Chris Sun. Chris, mate, it's so great to have you on the podcast. I really appreciate you coming on today.
Oh, no worries, and thanks for having me. Internationally renowned. I like that.
Oh,
Ooh,
yeah.
fucking sounds cool.
I
We'll stick with that.
I was mentioning to someone from overseas. I was speaking to you today, and he's like, "Are you speaking to him? Really?" And I was like, "Yeah." So no, seriously, you're in that community. That's freaking fantastic.
It's kind of funny sometimes. Like you go out or you talk to somebody, and then like one time I was walking on Hollywood Boulevard. I walked into a shop to buy my partner at the time a dress. Don't ask me why, but I was go dress shopping as you do, right? And the chick behind the counter had seen Charlie's Farm, and
Oh
that was
wow.
pretty fucking impressive. I was like, wow, okay, that's when you kind of know, okay, these movies are definitely getting out there. That's for sure.
Yeah, fantastic. And also, your full name is actually Christopher Lee's son. So you're named after one of the greatest Draculas there ever was. So growing up, was it Halloween every day for you when you were a kid?
Not really. I mean, mum, I don't know, she must have been a bit morbid when she was younger, but then when she had, obviously had us, she probably just, I don't know what, she just fucking became like a 9 to 5 housewife, but she would sneak horror movies without us knowing.
Yeah.
So the first horror movie I ever watched, I snuck outside to watch it, and that was Evil Dead. So yeah, Mum always had this, love of horror, but it was never in the house. It was never like, fucking Halloween or anything. But she had this fascination with Christopher Lee, and I guess she named me after him. But yes, it wasn't like till I got older that I mean, I always loved horror and everything to do with it. But especially watching Evil Dead for your first movie, you can't but not be addicted to horror after seeing that. Um, but yeah, as I obviously got older and stuff, it sort of became more of the horror guy, I guess. But not when I was younger. When I was younger, we were pretty much just whatever.
There's nothing wrong with being the horror person. When I was at school, I was a horror person, but then I was standing out at school being like a bigger kid. So I'm like, I can't be a big kid and the horror kid. So I had to kind of hide it a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, now stuff everyone. I embrace it like crazy.
Oh, that's it. Look, the thing with horror is it's the biggest community, the biggest fan base, I think, in the world. Especially for genres of movies and stuff like horror fans. Everybody's got this fucking, well, not everybody, sorry, people have this persona that horror people are fucking the devil worshippers, they're this, they're that, all this garbage that goes with it. And at the end of the day, there's some of the nice, don't get me wrong, I've got fans that have fucking killed goats and all sorts of shit. But they are some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. They're loyal fans. They get behind the independent film industry. I mean, true horror fans love indie horror movies. They get into them. They support them. I once owned a motorcycle business, and these people came in, and they're like, "Can we speak to the owner?" I said, "You're speaking to him." And they said, "No, no, no, the owner of the motorcycle business." I said, "You're talking to him." And they honestly were expecting somebody covered in tattoos and whatnot. So everybody has these, perceptions of what they think people are, but it's we're completely the fucking opposite. You know what
The
I mean?
horror community is just so respectful, and it's just I'd always prefer to be in a tight knit horror community than be like famous making all this money, because people in that community, they actually respect what you do, where I don't think you get that really in any other genre.
Oh, look, don't get me wrong. The horror community can also be a big bunch of pricks. Let's be honest. You guys know it. There's someone watching it right now that has literally gone online and slagged on movies because they think they can. But I guess that's what makes us unique as horror fans. We either love the movie or we hate the movie. Sometimes there's an in between. You think, well, it was okay. I'll let that go. So I don't mind when people dislike my movies. I mean, my movies aren't for everybody.
Yeah.
Just like I was talking to someone today, actually the sound designer for this project that we're doing with the kids, and he kept bringing up references from The Hobbit. I've actually not. I don't even remember watching the fucking Hobbit. I'm not saying that, but it's just not me, right? So
Yeah.
this guy's like, how do you not know who Bogo Baggins or whatever the fuck this guy's name is? How do you not know? And he's like, seriously, like I've done something wrong. I'm like, it's not my thing, bro.
Mm.
Like just because I don't know who the fuck he is doesn't, that's irrelevant. It's not my thing. You ask me about Pumpkinhead, I'll fucking tell you.
Oh yes.
So, I think that again, the horror fans, they obviously they probably watch The Hobbit and like The Hobbit. I don't know, but they get good horror. They know when they're seeing good horror, and I think that these days you've got different levels of horror. Like James Wan is somebody that I look up to. I think he's phenomenal. He's the jump scare guy. Greg McLean is Wolf Creek and all that. These are all guys that I look at and go fucking wow. Whereas I just love blood and guts and gore. Like that's me. Like that's what I wanna be doing. That's like my thing, and I have a fan base for that. But then
Yeah.
you got horror fans that don't like that. They just want the jump scares or that. So the beautiful thing about horror is there's many different subgenres that go with it that cater to everybody's tastes
Yeah.
and makes it exciting. So I think that with the movie we're developing, and we'll touch base on a little bit later on,
Mhm.
but that is exciting for me because I can go back to what I truly love, which is monsters and blood and guts, and that's what's exciting. And not every horror fan likes that style of movie,
Yeah.
but there's a high percentage that will enjoy that and look forward to seeing that, I guess.
Yeah. Now, being that well, granted, everything that you've done really in the last like 10 to 12 years, and that's such a tremendous amount of stuff to do in such a short amount of time. Did you want to make movies when you were younger, or was it just something you just really had no interest in?
Nah, when I was a kid, I thought I was fucking Bruce Lee. I wanted to. For real. I think I went through some stage where I was like, I want to be like a martial arts actor and make movies and stuff like that. When I was a kid, I soon realized pretty quick that I was full of shit and that wasn't going to happen. But it wasn't until later on in life that I took a stab at making movies and sort of got into that. I think there was at one stage where I wanted to be a copper, and then I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that as I was growing up. We come from a really simple Aussie family. My mum works in a jam factory. She's retired just this year. She works in a jam factory. My dad's a truck driver.
Mhm.
So if you, in my family, if you said, "Oh, I'm gonna be a movie director," they'd all be like, "Just go and get a fucking job."
Yes.
And that's not them being mean. This is just that we grew up like that.
Mhm.
It's we grew up in a really hard working Aussie family. So my parents were always encouraged us to be whatever you want and you can. But again, when you say, I remember the day I rang up my parents and I said, I'm quitting my job where I'm at and I'm going to start a motorcycle business. And they're like, what? I knew nothing about motorbikes. I could fucking barely ride them, right? But I knew this guy that was importing motorcycles out of China, and just what he was doing really interested me. I thought, hang on a minute, this is really cool. So if you go to the Australian Motorcycle Museum, I shit you not, the motorcycle that me and this fellow invented is in that museum. So
Oh wow.
I think my thing's paused. Hang on one sec. Um, and anyone of the fans out there that know mini bikes, they would have heard of a mini bike called the Pit Boss. Well, I'm the guy that invented the Pit Boss. So I've always believed in myself. I think I've always just looked at things and thought, you know what, I'll have a fucking crack.
Mhm.
And I think that, even though that was a little bit random to our family unit of, get a job, get an apprenticeship or whatever, they were still like, you know what, he's different. He's always been different. And I guess we'll just let him go and eventually, he'll find his happiness. And I still today, even though I love making movies, I still believe I haven't found it yet. I'm 48 years old and I'm still wondering when that's going to be,
Yeah.
what's going to be that moment where I go, I'm complete. So it's definitely, I didn't grow up wanting to do it, but I grew up knowing that I was different and knowing that I could accomplish anything if I worked hard enough to do it. Again, creating a motorcycle that, now if the fans are there, if you Google Pit Boss or Pit Boss Empire, you'll see the mini freestyle bikes that a guy that knew nothing about motorbikes created. So it's one of those things. I guess you just, for your listeners, it's a matter of just fucking keep believing in yourself. That's all I've ever done. It hasn't made me rich, but it's made me, believe that anything is possible.
Well, we're saying that you created Slaughter Effects, which originally was called Aussie Gore, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah. And for those of you playing at home, anyone who has seen the viral Jason table, this is the dude who created it.
That's me.
That is him. So if you want one, be one of the many people who send him an email saying, dude, I need a table.
Yeah, I recently like that. So the original table was done between myself and another talented artist who's now moved on, working in Canada, which is Carla Arena, and we built those tables together. The furniture, we did a whole heap of Ed Gein furniture and the Jason Voorhees table. But you're right, that Jason table becomes so viral, like whatever you call it, like it just went everywhere. I think it's the most viewed coffee table probably in the history of Facebook. There was one that we saw that had 12 million views.
Wow.
12 million views of a fucking coffee table. So no, don't email me for a coffee table because I've had thousands of them. I've actually stopped making them now. I made the last one a couple of years ago. I made a Freddy Krueger one. I made a Michael Myers one. And then I thought, you know what? I'm kind of done with that now. I will one day when I get bored. Like I've got a corpse coffee table in my lounge room that people come around. They're like, "Dude, can you cover that up?" It's like in there, but I will one day. I'll make one and I'll just put it up on this website and not tell anybody, and
Hmm.
somebody can buy it. But otherwise, I guess I'm just too busy now, like doing it. And it's funny because I did a knockoff, of obviously the character Jason Voorhees making a table, but then there was a company that knocked off my table by making rugs with my table on the rugs.
Oh, for fuck's
It's,
sake.
they're knocking off the knockoff of the knockoff. It's funny, but I remember the internet just went mental on these guys. You're ripping off, artists and stuff. It was again horror fans fucking love them, right? They take no shit. They will support their own, and this company ended up pulling down all the rugs that they were selling, everything. They just discontinued the whole thing. So that was pretty funny that they got behind me and supported me on that. Although I guess I don't own the IP to Jason Voorhees, but it was still pretty cool to see them all go to my defense.
Well, no, that's seriously. See, this is why I like the horror community. Why it's so friggin' awesome. But also, um, with the name change you had going to Silver Effects, was that because you started actually making some horror props for movies?
Yeah. So originally it was Aussie Gore, and then we had like a haunted museum. So I brought in props. I bought props from America, from Precinct 13, Bob Kurtzman, Steve Boyle. That's how I met Steve Boyle in Australia. So I had this old, I had Pit Boss, and then upstairs, or beside Pit Boss, I had like a horror store where I
Yeah.
was selling all props and stuff. And then I decided to build like this walkthrough upstairs where, it was all like props that I bought. And we built this, it was fucking so cool. And that kind of, so it was originally Aussie Gore. And then I started to teach myself. I thought, you know what, I want to learn how to do this, but I didn't really know what I was doing. And Steve Boyle said to me one day, "Oh, he was selling us latex. This is the product we use." So I thought, I'm going to go home and just have a crack. And the next thing you know, I was, building full size dead bodies. And again, just self taught, just looking at it going, you know what? I want to learn how to do this. Like, not even really looking at YouTube tutorials or anything. I just sort of winged it,
Yeah.
and sort of, okay, you mold them and then you pour this in. And I'm certainly no expert, don't get me wrong, but I've sold props all over the world, which is, kind of cool. One of my favorite things to do was like severed head lamps,
Yes.
female and male lamps and shit. Or I got really well known for doing like haunted dolls. I buy porcelain dolls and fuck them up, or Barbie dolls and really fuck them up and make like these little, pieces with all these dolls and lamps and shit. So that was all good fun. Like, for a long time, uh, I was making props. I did Jason Voorhees clocks, like hockey mask clocks, and just random shit. And it paid the bills. Definitely
Mm.
paid the bills. And but it's what I think after doing that for a while, and of course meeting, Steve Boyle. Again, he's like one of my heroes. He's probably one of the best FX artists in this country, and definitely in the top 20, probably 10 in the world, in my opinion. And that's when I started thinking, hey, I think I can make movies. I think I could have a crack at this, and that's sort of the progression from the props was that.
Well,
And we still
apart
make props for the films.
well, apart from doing the movies, you actually wrote a novel about Fred Gein, and
Yeah.
I was Ed Gein. My God, Fred. You said Freddie before, and he's my favorite. That's why he's on my mind right now. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna ask, was he the inspiration for your carpentry, your things? I'm not gonna ask you
I,
about your materials, but was he the
like
inspiration for
when
it?
we were doing like all the horror furniture, like chairs or skinned, body parts over chairs, severed peckers, all sorts of shit. We just made some random shit. That was inspired by Ed Gein, definitely. I mean, look, Ed Gein has inspired so many filmmakers, artists, and around, since the 50s, whenever it was, 60s, whenever that happened. I mean, Silence of the Lambs, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it all came from Ed Gein.
Mm.
So when I was doing Ed in my book, it's my first go at writing a novel. I actually remember I had to ring my mum because I've never read a book. So I had to ring my mum. It was so funny because mum loves all that Stephen King books. She just loves them.
Yeah.
And I rang her up and I said, Mum, I'm going to write a book. She's like, oh, that's exciting. I said, how many pages are in a book? She goes, what do you mean? I said, is it meant to be like 200, 100? She's like, son, it's however many you want it to be. Okay, thanks, Mum. You know, so it's, yeah, and still people today think, how the fuck did he write a book and he's never read a book? But anyway, so Ed Gein was definitely an inspiration for a lot of stuff. Not so much the movies though, but definitely for the book. Obviously, in real life, he was the body snatcher, would dig up people and skin them. You guys already know. I'm telling you what you already know. But in my book, Ed, he lives with the ghost of. A guy named Larry lives with the ghost of Ed Gein, and he teaches Ed about, instead of having to dig bodies up and do manual labor, let's get Tinder and fucking all these apps, and he actually does kill people, and skins them and stuff. And I remember Bill Moseley when he read Ed, he's like, Chris, please, can we make that movie? Holy fuck, can we make that movie? I want to be Ed Gein. Please make it. And I still do want to make it, but I remember the first people with money that I spoke to about it, they said, oh, no, we couldn't do that. That's too violent. That's too fucked up. And I was like, well, shit. So one day I want to make it, but I'm going to crowd fund it because I don't want to be restricted. I
Yeah.
don't want people to say, you have to do this, have to do that. I want to be able to make a movie that you guys walk away and go, holy fuck. Like that was like, just, because I love practical effects so much that I don't want to skimp any part of it. I want it to be just, yeah, and it's a great book. I mean, I guess I can say that because I wrote it, but the people that have read it, they seem to enjoy it, and it's really erotic. So that's something that would be new for me filming because I try to never show too much or any nudity at all in my movies because I want my daughter to grow up. Well, she's 18 now, but also my stepdaughter to grow up knowing that you don't need to show your tits to get ahead in life, or
Yeah.
to be in a movie. So although in Charlie's Farm we do have boobs, I remember when it come to shoot that, Madeline, who had no problem, she was like, look, Chris, it's okay. They're just boobs. It's okay. But I still felt like, oh, this, she's going to be there forever, And
Yeah.
I remember Bill Moseley saying to me, Chris, it's tits. It's okay. Let's just shoot it, right? And I'm like, okay, Bill and Madeline. So they were all okay with it. But I made sure that I shot it and so tasteful with people around her so she could be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But after that, I sort of thought, you know what? If I can go through my career and never have to do that again, I'd feel cool about it.
Yeah.
So, and even when I was writing Dark Moon, one of the people that was involved in it was saying, hey, we think that these two characters should have sex, And although it did make sense, it was like, you know what? Nah, fuck it. I don't need that. I don't need to put sex on screen to kill somebody. You guys are still going to be impressed by the way I kill them anyway.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I'm still a dude, but it's like, you know what? I want to kill you respectfully. I don't need you to be naked to die, if that makes sense. And nothing against anybody that does that. It's just, I don't know. I just want to teach my kids differently.
Yeah.
And, I kind of like that. So with Ed, it's kind of a challenge, though, because there's so much sex in it because it's all about, this guy Larry, who's a little bit of a sex machine. So I don't know how I would pull it off, but I guess it'd definitely be R-rated.
No,
So
definitely. That's how you know it's a good horror movie if it's R-rated.
I
I
know,
remember
right?
seeing R ratings on stuff when I was a kid, and I was like, this must be bad. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was such a bad thing to see a R rating in Australia. It must have been so extreme.
I know. I know. Look, the hard part. Well, a few years ago, if you made a film and it was R-rated, it was very, very hard to make money from it in Australia.
Mm.
The cinemas wouldn't touch you. Distributors would be like, "Oh, fucking R-rated. Oh, that's bad." Fucking, Wolverine or Deadpool, which changed it when
Mm.
when Deadpool came out R-rated. I think that's when all these people fucking realized, hang on a minute, R-rated is okay. There's nothing wrong with it. So Charlie's Farm, that hurt it because of the R rating. So I remember with Boar, I actually purposely toned it down in the edit so that we could come in under the R rating to keep Universal happy.
Yeah.
Whereas with Dark Moon, fuck that, right? It's R rated all the fucking way, man. It's like I'm going back to what I love doing, and now the cinemas and distributors they can make the same money now. It doesn't matter having the R rating there; they'll still make good money. excited to finally go back to fucking shit up and not having to chop it to pieces to appease, an M rating or something.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to your early films with Come and Get Me, which I'm still trying to get my hands on a copy, it is
Good one.
so hard to get. But
Yeah,
I did end up watching Daddy's Little Girl the other day, which I actually believe is one of your favorite ones that you've done.
it is. Yeah.
And I'll admit, I was watching, I've got a bung knee at the moment, and my knee started hurting during a scene. And I was like, oh, what a coincidence. But
I've got that knee right beside me. It's it's physically here. I'll drag it around for you.
oh,
Just,
yes,
just,
do it.
just so we can give your knee a bit more of a bung feeling. This, I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me move
oh,
that.
wow.
That's the knee that she's talking about. So if you want to really find out, you're going to have to watch the movie. But that's the knee.
There's copies on the website, Slaughter Effects, I believe.
Yeah, there is, Darren.
Yep.
Not too many left, but there is. It's because I've got the rights back in Australia, but I'm not going to reprint it.
Yep.
So, and same with Come and Get Me now. It's like, nah, because I self-distributed that in Australia, and I think we had a distributor in America. We had a distributor in America, and it's become so rare now that it's like one of those ones where people are like, "How do I fucking find this movie?" Oh shit! I've paused again on you. Hang on. Where people you want to know how they find Come and Get Me. So I kind of like that vibe. It's like, I mean, look, I'll be honest with everybody. Come and Get Me. It's a really rough film. It's dark. There was times when we were shooting, we forgot to put microphones on the talent, on the actors and the actresses, and there's just crazy little moments. But I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. So for a while, I was calling it my rehearsal film. But now I look back, it's like I'm proud of that, even though it's pretty fucking, it could be a lot better. But I look at it now and I'm so proud of it because that was my first one and how much I've grown and learned along the way. And Daddy's Little Girl, which is, you watched that the other day. I'd love to hear your thoughts. There's my daughter Savannah helped me write that script. She named the character Georgia in that. She's the little hand in the poster. For that. She was meant to be in the film, but my ex at the time didn't want her to be, so that's fine. But there's just something about that one because all the cases in that are all actual cases from where I live here on the sunny coast.
Yeah.
So that was, it was kind of personal, I guess.
Well, I really enjoyed it because it actually gave me kind of like Last House on the Left vibes with like the revenge to it. And I'm a massive Wes Craven fan, so I actually really appreciated that. But yeah, there was some things like some torture methods. I was like, "Whoa, that's different." And pretty much anything that you had, I've never seen anywhere else. Like, not even I don't think I'd even seen anything in like Saw.
Yeah.
So that's pretty impressive.
No one's ever shoved barbed wire up a pedo's ass and then ripped it out on screen. I've done that now. As you said, the torture. I remember when I first wrote it, I would go around and I would interview people, and I've actually got the footage somewhere. I might have to share it one day of interviewing parents on what they would do if they ever got face to face with somebody somebody who hurt their child, right?
Yeah.
And man, we would all talk and fucking I do this and I do that, and we're real puffed up pigeons when we're saying it. We're gonna fuck shit up. Mothers, them bitches are evil. Right?
Oh yes.
You'd sit there, and some of the stuff that these women would say, you'd be like, "Holy fuck! I've never seen that before. I never heard that before." What they would do, and look, out of 10 people, only one or two would act on it, but you could tell which two it was.
Yeah.
In the way they would deliver it, it's like, don't fuck with this woman.
Yes.
She just looks like a fucking everyday mum, but you fuck with her kids, and that's what something about Daddy's Little Girl that I wanted to make sure. And I remember one of my slogans or, my little one-liners when I was putting it out there was, I hope all pedophiles get a nosebleed just knowing this movie's coming out, And still today, I actually get people say, when are you going to do Mummy's Little Girl? So we did Daddy's, and I've always thought about doing Mummy's Little Girl, whereas I now do it from a mother's point of view, taking the revenge, because everything I learnt when I hung with the mums was like, and I've got children myself and their mothers, and I know that they're crazy fuckers as well. So if they're, I think that a woman taking revenge on a pedo would be one heck of a fucking movie.
Oh yeah, definitely.
One heck of a movie. So again, it's something that I would do, and something we could do within a great budget too. It wouldn't have to be a lot of money. And yeah, I've had plenty of people sort of hit me up about developing that film. So I will do that one day. I think that'll be a lot of fun. Um, to explore the woman, the mum, taking fucking revenge, especially when most bad things that happen to children are committed by somebody they know, right?
Yes.
So that makes it even more fucking personal when you realize you know this person,
Hmm.
and then it goes from just anger to pure fucking hatred, pure like fucking every emotion. And again, when I was interviewing these mums, Dal, I was like, fuck, wow. Like they go from the sticking them on a mound of fucking ants naked, all sorts of shit, and it just got worse and worse. And even me, I was like walk out there sometimes and think, holy fuck, like whoa, that hit me hard. And
Yeah.
remember, real life is way worse than any fucking movie.
Oh, yes.
Way worse than any movie. So you hear stories about what happens in some of these countries with torture and whatever, and creators or horror filmmakers, half the shit we can never think up in our head. But but yet in real life, like it's a scary fucking world, babe. It's scary, the world we live in. So I would one day love to make Mummy's Little Girl. So, and again, that's not a plug, but if you guys ever get to watch Daddy's Little Girl, I'd love to hear your feedback on what, especially the women out there watching, on what they would do. Like fucking comment. Let me know, what would you do if you could fucking spend 6 days with somebody that hurt one of your family members or child? I'd love to hear it. Because you
Mm.
never know, it might make it in the
You
movie.
could. You could definitely make it into the movie. Now, when you were doing Charlie's Farm and you're getting into like the US market and you're getting your casting, you're getting like, you got Nathan Jones, but then when you started getting like Kane Hodder and you were getting Tara Reid and Bill Moseley, how did it feel seeing those people starting to get attached to your film? That's horror
Well,
royalty.
oh, look, they are. Look, Nathan Jones, first of all, like when I wrote the script that I originally wrote it for Nathan,
Mm-hmm.
I was very excited because I actually met Nathan on LinkedIn. I wrote him on LinkedIn and said, "Hey, I've written this movie about this killer dude, and it's you. I want you to play it, and I've written it for you." And he was so cool, man. He's like, "Fucking, I'd love to do it," which was great. I mean, it's all about Aussie supporting Aussies, I think. Though going out to Tara Reid and stuff like that, that was a little bit of a different process because you've got to go through the agents in America. And I remember Tara's agent's name was Nathan, and I went to him and I said, "Hey, I've got this movie, and I love for Tara Reid to get involved." And I remember like the first conversations, which obviously I'll take to the grave with me, but there were some funny moments, right, between the Aussie. Look, us Aussies, we don't like to be bullshitted to. We'll call a spade sometimes because it's just the way we are. And there was a couple of moments there, but then as soon as Tara and I got on to Skype, because back then it was Skype,
Yeah.
we just got on like we were just fucking, we just gelled. It's like, let's make this movie. It's going to be fucking great. So when you take the agents out of the equation, it becomes fucking awesome.
Mm.
Bill Moseley's agent and Kane Hodder's agent, that's the same lady. That's Judy. And she Foxy, Judy Fox's name. She likes to be called Foxy. And she is one of the coolest fucking agents I've ever met. Just the way she does business, the way she handles things. And she was great to deal with. And I remember I was talking to her about Bill Moseley. So here's a funny story for you that I haven't really said much on. I don't know if I've ever said on a podcast ever. I was in America many, many years ago, long before I started making films, right? When I had Pit Boss.
Yeah.
So I was in America and there was a Halloween thing on Hollywood Boulevard. And there was this little corner building and The Devil's Rejects was just coming out. It was just being released. And I went into this thing. I paid like $5 to get in there. And there was all these famous people. Well, I didn't know who any of them were really, but they were signing stuff. It was like a little convention, right?
Yeah.
So I've walked around and I'm having that's the first time I met Corey Feldman and we're having a chin wag and having a chat. We met quite a few times after that. But so we had this little chat. But then I met this guy from The Devil's Rejects who played Otis, and he signed this thing for me and stuff. This was Bill Moseley, right? I had no idea. Like, because, Otis, he looked different, and it hadn't been released yet. It was being released in America, but not in Australia so much. So I met this guy, and I was like, wow, and he was just so nice. And I remember somebody saying back then, you and him kind of look similar, and there's a bit of a joke getting around. There's two photos of me and Bill. If you put them side by side, we could be brothers. I think Bill, I think he looked like my grandfather. I'm just going to put it out there. But anyway, so I met him, and then it was like not even 10 years later, he's making a movie with me. It was so weird how it all happened. And I remember talking to Judy, and I said, Judy, I've got Nathan Jones, with Bill, and I've got Tari, but I want somebody else. She said, what about Kane Hodder? And silly me, everyone knows Jason Voorhees, but I didn't know the name Kane Hodder. I just knew Jason Voorhees and whatever. And I said, what's he done? And she said, well, that's Jason Voorhees. And I'm like, oh, I want Jason Voorhees because I want fucking Charlie to kill him.
Yes.
So she's like, I can make that happen. So she reached out to Kane. Next thing you know, Kane and I were chatting, and Kane's like, I would love to come to Australia, and out he came, and that was it. That's how it sort of all happened. But yeah, so Kane was great, Bill was great, and of course Tara was great. It was good fun working with them all.
It is such a fun movie to watch. And I love that there's always just that element of fun that you can put into horror that you really can't put into like, some dramas, because
Yeah.
horror doesn't always have to be scary. You can have something that's just going to be over the top stupid, and you can get away with it in this genre. That's what I friggin' like about stuff like this.
Look, the only serious movie I think I've ever made is Daddy's Little Girl. I think that, and that taught me a lot. It taught me a lot more about directing. I mean, we shot that on a Canon 5D, guys. So if there's anyone there wondering, if they can make a movie, you can literally do it with fucking iPhones these days. But
Mhm.
all my movies have that element of comedy in them. I don't try to take myself too serious. I don't try to be, the serious, scary. I mean, you name a slasher movie that you watch that hasn't had funny moments.
Yeah.
They all have them. Um, Whereas Dark Moon, which again we'll talk about that after, I want that to be really fucking serious movie, but it still has the comedy in it. So both the Possessed, Boar, and Charlie's Farm have all got that element of comedy in them, and they're fun. And I just think that it really does come down to the right casting too, delivering the lines right, and that's something I learned too with Tara. Sorry, Tara Reid.
Tara.
I call her Tara. She's like, it's Tara.
It's
Sorry, Tara. I will get it right.
the
Uh,
Aussie.
but it is, and that's the thing that I guess another lesson to for any budding filmmakers out there, if you're writing a script as a male, remember that like every time I write for females, it still sounds like a bloke.
Yeah.
So you have to learn to either write for the girls or let females read it and give you, hey dude, this sounds like a fucking man talking. Because I remember poor Tara was reading and she's like, this doesn't make sense. And to me, it made perfect fucking sense. But then I'm like, well, hang on a minute. Not only is she female, she's American.
Yeah.
So it's even different again. So there's just things that I learned from working with Tara and Bill and Kane. Not so much with Bill and Kane though, because they can sort of adapt with the male dollar. But I learned, about writing for a different nationality, and obviously the different sex as well. So that was a good something good to learn.
So with talking about Possessed, you actually have John Jarrett's character who's based off a real exorcist, Mark Gardner.
Yeah.
What was it like hanging around him and doing your research and the things videos you would have watched and stories he would have told you? What was that experience like?
Man, Mark's a great guy. It's funny, like, when people they say that there's a real life exit, everybody's so quick on the internet today. Fake, after money, after this, after that, whatever. Mark Gardner has performed probably, I think he said like let's say 1,000 exorcisms. I don't know, but he calls them clearings. They're not like every day, people's heads spinning and they're vomiting green. He's never charged a single dime, doesn't do anything, but he's got some of the fucking gnarliest stories you'll ever hear. About fucking actual full-on exorcisms where he's been in the room with shamans and shit, or whatever they are, and all this shit's happening. He swears he watched a woman levitate. Now, we all find that hard to believe. We all like, yeah, whatever, motherfucker.
Yeah.
We weren't there. Like, we weren't there. I wasn't there.
Mm.
But when he tells you, it's like we talk about, again, those mothers before, that, they just got that look of they're not lying to you. They're fucking legit. When he tells me that story, or told me that story about this woman, and in fact, we used a bit of her in The Possessed, which was the lust girl sitting on the chair. So this was a woman that they exorcised. It was like had the demon of lust or something. She was really fucked up. And he said she physically levitated off the bed, like not huge, not like Reagan in The Exorcist levitating. She came off the bed and then went back down, and then came off the bed and went back down. And it wasn't from convulsing. She just lifted.
Wow.
And then came down. So the stories that he's told me are great. So hanging out with him was cool. It was a bit random on set though, because he had this other guy who was like another exorcist guy, but I think a level up from Mark. I don't know. They don't get black belts or nothing.
The
You know?
levels.
They're like fucking ninjas, right? Eventually get to like this stage where they're like the ultimate exorcist. But no, he had this guy. I can't remember his name, and I do apologize because he was a wonderful person. But they come every day and they would do clearings on the set, to get rid of all the bad juju. And there's me thinking, fuck off, I want the bad juju. Right? Like, shooting a fucking horror film, guys. Like, go away. And that guy would bribe me, like, come on, everybody knows you bring Tim Tams on set, everyone's going to love you. So this
Yeah.
guy brought me a bag of fucking biscuits, man, to keep me happy so he could keep performing his things. But look, it was a great experience. Look, the movie has also got a lot of bullshit in it because that's movie making, right?
Yeah.
The stories are true, but it's the way that I brought them out. And because in real life, when Mark does a clearing, for most of them, nothing happens. So he would lay you down, perform this clearing. You're not doing anything. You're just laying there, right? Sometimes you don't even feel anything. You're just like, it's Chris's body. It's Chris's body. Like, what's he doing? But he starts to vomit and go all fucking crazy. Like, it's weird. So if we made a movie just like that, you'd be bored. You'd be like, okay, this guy's like fucking acting all fucking, and she's just laying there. This is boring. So I created well, he said that he pulls the demons out, right? So I created so you can see it happen, and then I made them also react to it, so it gives you more of that Hollywood feel. But the stories themselves are all based on stories from Mark Gardner. Even the house at the end, the woman being possessed and stuff, that was another story that he said. But again, I just made it, I added the guy that he was really the missus the whole time anyway. But, you got to add that little bit of flavor to keep the fans, or the audience, the audience entertained.
Yeah.
So a high percentage of, well, half of it was bullshit and the other half was just Mark's story, but a little bit more bullshit added to it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense because you got to add a bit of flavor to things, a little bit of spice.
You do. And again, those that haven't seen The Possessed, I don't try to take it serious at all. There's a lot of funny moments in it. A lot of, it's not meant to be, that's the scariest movie I've ever seen. It's about this, this clearings. And here's a bit of trivia for you. If you watch The Possessed in the nightclub scene, now you haven't seen Come and Get Me yet. So in Come and Get Me, there was a killer named Johnny and a killer named Bretto, and they kill a girl named Kate. Kate leaves the nightclub wearing a yellow dress. Bretto, Will, and Johnny drive past, they pick her up, they take her into the bush and they kill her, right?
Yeah.
In the nightclub scene now, there's a girl in a yellow dress, the exact same actress, Jess Taylor, who played Kate. She's dancing in the yellow dress. You see a demon take over her body. You see it, right? Yeah. And then the demon comes out of her, goes into a guy. That's Bretto. That's the guy that played Bretto in Come and Get Me. He goes down to the bar and he touches a guy named Brad, who was which part was he? He was in Come and Get Me as well. I think he was in the nightclub scene in Come and Get Me. He touches Brad. The spirit goes into Brad. The demon goes into Brad. As Brad walks up, so Jess gets dragged out of the club, so now she's gone. So if you watch Come and Get Me, that would be her leaving the club and now walking up the street, right?
And the event's starting.
So the demon is what's possessing all these people and making them do bad things, right? So then the demon goes into Brad. Brad walks up. He bumps into Christian Radford, who played Johnny in Come and Get Me. They end up in a punch-up. That's how it all sort of happens. So I tied this whole little universe in there, originally from one of Mark's stories about when he was in a club and he saw the demon taking over people. And that's how that became. So if you watch Come and Get Me, which is hard to see, you will see these characters and they're actually all in The Possessed, 12 years later. So
that is so cool.
Yeah.
That is so cool. You make me want to watch it more. And I can't fucking get my hands on it. Like, I'm finding copies on eBay going for like $60 to ship a $20 DVD. And I'm like, yeah, fucking good luck with that.
Yeah, I know, right? I've seen, you can still get the American ones. In fact, I might have, look at that. Actually, I think that's it. Is it the Australian one or the American one? No, it looks, that's American. It's too fancy. But you can get, I know there is American ones. You can still buy them on eBay. Yeah, but there is some. Maybe if I do, I think I've got some American ones around. I'll let you know. Geez, I've paused again. I've got so much happening with my computer at the minute in the background, so I'm sorry
No, no, you're fine.
if my video pauses every now and then.
No, no,
Um,
more than fine, mate.
if I do find one, I'll let you know.
Oh, I appreciate it.
I'll charge you $45 for shipping instead. What a rip off.
So, after doing Possessed, you're going back to your creature feature roots with your new one, Dark Moon.
Yeah.
I will admit, as soon as I saw the promotion video you had that you put on Instagram and you have on your website, I had to contact my mate Brody Kane and was like, Brody, he's doing fucking another one. He's making another one. And the reason why the hype is so real with this is because of how much practical effects you love using.
Oh, I love it.
Like all of the ones you did in Possessed and with Bore and shit like that. I am so excited to see what you do with this.
Yeah. Look, it's I'm excited for it too because it'll have the best kills I've ever done on screen. Probably some of the best kills I hope that you'll see in 2025. I mean, you know, we've got a tribute to the Lost Boys. We've got a
Yes.
tribute to the Cannibal Holocaust.
Yes.
Oh, there's some fucked up shit, man. Like, but it's still a great story. Like that, you know, most monster films, you're not trying to win an Oscar, you know.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're trying to have this fucking insane story, but it's a great story. I'm really proud of it. It's the first script I ever sent out for coverage. I had the buyer from Universal Pictures, who now works with us, developing the script with me. There was so much. I took everything that I've learned, excuse me, in the past, and made this one right. Like I haven't rushed the process. You know, well, in saying that, last year I was contracted to direct a Western thriller, but because all the strikes happened, they've had to put that on hold. And I think they built all the sets locally here, but I think it's kind of fallen over now. Sadly, I think it's at that stage where it's kind of dead in the water. So I'm now, I thought, you know what? I gave them a year of my time. Now it's time to focus on Dark Moon. And the timing's right. Everything's right. The crew that we're getting is right. The casting that we're talking to in America right now to bring to Australia to work with the Australian actors and actresses is right. It's I mean I'd love to bring Bill Moseley back, you know, maybe one day I'll be able to do that, but for this film it just all feels right. And the monster, I'm not gonna tell anybody. I mean, I was so proud when we bore, you know, we built this 14-foot monster, you know, giant pig. But I remember when we did Daddy's Little Girl, I was sitting with Steve Boyle, who did he does all my practical effects for all my films. And Steve's like, you know, one day you'll get to make your Pumpkinhead. You know, my favorite movies is like Pumpkinhead or Frankenfish. I love all those random fucking movies, right? And I'm like, dude, like, even though I had done Charlie, he's like, sorry, it was after Charlie, sorry, when we had that conversation. And Boar was there, but it wasn't my Pumpkinhead. It wasn't that monster, you know, that we want to see. And I'm really excited to say to you guys now that I've created it. This is my Pumpkinhead. This is the one that I've been waiting for. So I don't want to, you know, let you guys down in any way. Like I've every fucking thing you can think of for this movie, from the practical effects side, the blood side, the killing, is exactly what you are expecting from me, but more. Like you know, I want to so much yell and say what I'm doing, but it's so fucking hard. I was talking to someone the other day, an actress in one of the films, and she just, I don't know, I just accidentally started telling her some of the kills, and she just sat there and she's like, holy fuck. Like that's insane. Like and it's not original kills. I'll give them that, but they're like tributes, you know, to it. You know, to certain things. I wanted to, you know, like let me give you one little that you guys are getting. It's gonna fuck with your head now, but I'm gonna do it. We all love Lost Boys when he fucking shoots him and it's death by stereo. We fucking love it.
Yes.
I have a death by stereo moment. I'm not going to
Yes.
tell you anymore. I've fucking paused it. I keep seeing myself pause. It's weird. But I'll let that out of the bag. There is something fucking really cool with a fucking stereo. And it's never been done like I'm going to do. And it's fucked up, man. Like, yeah, Jason, you know, Chrissy, the producer, you know the movie The Revenant with the bear
Yes.
attack. Jason describes the whole movie as like it's just one bear attack all the way to the end. It's very fucking violent, like it's just in your face. So I'm really proud of it. I know I'm talking it up, but trust me, it's when I get to shoot it, like it's all there, and that's why I said at the start of this, I'm going R-rated all the way. We're not going to pull any punches. We're just going to go. This is the movie. This is what we're making. You know, and that's what it's going to be. And the monsters, oh my god! Like Rob Stanley, who does my creature designs for all my films, we spend so much time designing this, and I'm not going to say whether it's a werewolf or not. A lot of people think it's a werewolf movie, and I'm not going to deny or anything. What I'm going to say to you is you've never seen anything like it. I swear, nothing like it. And the way this thing fucking kills, it just blow your fucking mind. And it will. I think it'll be the first time. I mean, like I remember people say don't go back in the water when you see Jaws. I'm shit scared of sharks because of Jaws. Like it scared the fuck out of me, right? But I can't name any other movie that's made me go, oh, geez, I'm too scared to go. Like you know, like I'm not afraid of I suppose. But then again, I know Johnny Jarrett. He doesn't really scare me, you know. But if I didn't know Mick Taylor, I'd probably shit myself. You
Yes.
know, so and boar, you know, there is giant pigs around the world that could hurt somebody. They could be real. But I want this creature. I want people to, you know, and it's Dark Moon for a reason. We do have moon in the title, so people want to go with the wolf thing. Do what you got to do. But I really want tourist horror fans that watch this movie to think, I don't think I want to go camping in the outback anytime soon because that's fucked up. And that's the kind of vibe that I want. I really, you know, I even want to have my like, and again, I'm an indie filmmaker. I'm not trying to be anything I'm not, but my dream is to have such a cool musical component to this that it may never be of like the level of a dun or a Halloween theme or a but I know that I can create something that when people hear it, they think of Dark Moon.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. I like why the fuck not? I'm not getting any younger, and you know, it's like this could be the last movie I ever make. It might not be. I hope it's not. But if it is, let's fucking make it epic.
Yeah.
So that way you could be sitting there one day and go, oh, you know, whatever the tune is, and go Dark Moon. You know, like that'd be cool. That would be cool. And the kills. I say this all the time. Watch like okay, you'll get some fans that walk out and go, geez, that actor was superb. Most people walk out of a horror movie and go, fuck, how good was that kill? Or how good was
Yes.
it when fucking he ripped a head off? Or whatever it is, right? That's what I want here. But I do want people to love the cast and want to support them. I want them to root for them and hope that they survive. But at the same time, I want them to go, how good was it when such and such got fucked up? You know, because that's what most people do when they live a horror movie. They talk about the action
Yeah.
and the killing and stuff. So I'm really excited. It won't be released till next year, but I'm really excited to start shooting it later in the year. And to, well, I've kind of said to the team that I'm not going to ever let the cat out of the bag of what the monster is until the night of the theatrical release.
Yeah.
So I'll let the audience tell everybody what it is. I don't. My goal is to try and keep it a secret up till then. But I definitely want to try and do little fucking little teasers, you know, as we go along to build that hype for it because I want people. I want them to walk out and they go, "That's the best fucking kills for 2025." They have to, otherwise I haven't done my job. If
Yeah.
not for the last 10 years, Charlie's Farm had great kills. Like I loved all my kills in Charlie's Farm. I'm fucking love every one of them, but they're amateur compared to what I'm doing now.
Nice. Because I'm just thinking, like, hyping up the kills. Remember when House of Wax came out and pretty much the biggest advertisement they had was "Watch Paris Die."
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
It's like that.
yeah, exactly like that. And that was a great death too.
Mm.
But I still think that, you know, I think we're gonna, you know, look those and again too, these days, the younger generation, they're used to CGI, they're used to all that kind of stuff, you know, the digital stuff. I only want to digitally enhance blood splatter. I might have to do a little bit of blinking on the monster because it's a practical effect.
Yeah.
I want the youngins to walk out of there and my age and older to walk out and go, oh my God, like the art form, the what they've created, you know, with these practical gags was beautiful. You know,
Mhm.
it was like it worked. You could, I mean, when you're creating a monster that nobody's ever seen before, who can sit there and say it doesn't look real if they've
Mhm.
never seen it? It's, you know, it's what I think is a real monster, right? Or a real werewolf or a real fucking whatever it is. So I want them to walk out of there and just be like, holy fuck, practical effects is still alive. It's still well. It's, you can still make great movies with practical effects. Don't get me wrong. These days, if you've got big budget, you can make anything you fucking want now.
Yeah.
But I still think there's something cool about, you know, physically being able to touch the hair on the monster for the actress or the actor to be able to interact, you know, with this beast right in front of them. And I'm really excited for that. The other thing that I'm going to do, I remember with Charlie's Farm, Alira Jakes, who's one of my favorite Aussie actresses and still is today. She didn't want to see Charlie until she saw him on set for the first time. She's the one that gets a jaw ripped off, and her reactions are all legit. She'd never seen him before. She's like, Alira's afraid of fucking birds. You know what I mean? So when you got big Nathan Jones staring at you with a big machete, you're going to be afraid of Nathan Jones.
Exactly.
Um, I still remember being in Sydney with her and all the birds, and she was fucking screaming. It's just birds, but you know, that's what I want for this. I don't want any of the cast to see anything. They might see the artwork, but I don't want them to see it until it's in their face, right
Yeah.
on set. There it is for real, and that way we can try and get a little bit more, you know, realistic reactions and stuff. So, and the cool part about it too is there is actually an inbred family in there, which is inspired by. There's a family in America called the Whitakers,
Yeah.
and I've used that as inspiration, but made them bogan Aussies.
Yes.
um, and so yeah, but you know, so there's a lot of roles that we're going to be casting for. There's a lot of opportunity for people because I love getting the named actors, but putting all the up and comers with them and giving them an opportunity to grow. So when that gets announced in the next couple of months, it's going to be exciting to see all the different people come forward and try, you know, that we can try and get involved in this project. So it's going to be exciting, that's for sure.
Nah, that sounds so cool. Oh my god, making me hyped up for it more. But yeah, so with the creature features, you've done a slasher with Charlie's Farm and you've done your revenge with Daddy's Little Girl. Is there a subgenre you haven't done yet that you really want to do?
Yeah, I mean, I know we did, like, I guess you could call possessed paranormal. I
Yeah.
really want to do, although I kind of fuck it when I say it. I really want to do. So I started writing a script, which I stopped to do Dark Moon, called House for Rent, which is my version of like a 13 Ghosts.
Nice.
So, and I'm really excited for that one. Um, but it's all practical. All the ghosts are practical. All that kind of shit.
As there should
So
be.
yeah, so I'm excited for that. If I get the chance to do that down the track, I'd like to finish that script and do that. Um, I mean, I'd like to do a paranormal film, but I don't know. I think I leave that to the masters because I don't want to look silly.
Yeah.
Like, because me, not saying I couldn't do it, but I just know that I would end up making funny moments in it, and I don't know whether that, you know, I look at someone like Lee Winnell, James Wan, all of those guys, and you're like, you guys own this. Even those guys that did Talk to Me, you know,
Ah,
fucking
yes.
love it. Like that's their thing, you know. Like fucking go, they do it brilliant. Why should I? I don't want to be something I'm not.
Yeah.
I love blood and guts. I love throwing a bit of comedy in there and stuff. But there is something I have wanted to do since I started doing movies that I'd like to do one day. One of my favorite movies growing up is Goonies. Love it.
Yes.
Fucking just fucking I got the poster somewhere fucking on one of the walls here.
I've got
Love
them
Goonies, right?
pops behind me.
Yeah. I want to do like a movie like that, but like a kid's horror adventure movie, but like Goonies. I'd love to create something like that. I think that could be fun. Um, you know, but also, you know, I don't know, I'd like to write another book too. So I don't know what's going to happen next, but I do know that the future, we are looking at doing Boar 2 because, you know, and Universal, we're definitely keen for Boar 2. So we're looking at Boar 2. Um, yeah, obviously, the Possessed is left open, but we'll see where we go on that. Dark Moon is definitely the priority now. I'd love to do another Charlie's Farm. See, here's a funny story for you as well. Everybody thinks that, well, so Bill Mosley and I, we talked about Charlie's Farm and all the sequels and what I would do. And Charlie is actually, it's all bullshit. Charlie doesn't exist, right? So Charlie's Farm 2 is about another group that go into the pub and they're all saying, no, 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 no. What happened was they went out there and this American girl and she got killed. And they're like, that's all bullshit. That's not how it went down.
Yeah.
That's not the story at all. So then there's a whole nother story. You know, Charlie could be a fucking dwarf. Nobody knows because it's all bullshit.
Mm.
So it was never meant to be this 7 foot killer in every movie. It was never meant to be, about that family because it's all a drunken story in a bar.
Yeah.
So Charlie's 2 and 3 were completely different concepts, but then you go to the prequel, which was the actual true story, right? So
Ah.
Bill and I were talking about it, and we're like, imagine if you did like Charlie's 2 and Charlie's 3, and everyone's like, oh my God, Charlie's is awesome, but it's all bullshit. It's not till you watch the prequel that you find out the true story. Who is Charlie? Who are the Wilsons? You know, what was the family and so on. And that was going to be my take on doing, a franchise with Charlie's Farm, was to do it that way. I'd still love to do it. I'd still love to do more Charlie's movies. Obviously, The Possessed came and Dark Moon was too good of an opportunity to not do it because I'd traveled Australia filming a little YouTube show, which we will bring out one day, called The Dark Side Down Under,
Yeah.
where we went and looked for ghosts and went looking for Bigfoot and fucking all sorts of fucking weird shit. And we got some funny stories on that. So, I think that this is the Dark Moon's the right time. And I think that, Boar 2 is probably going to be one of the next cabs off the rank, maybe,
Mm.
or Charlie's. I mean, I'd like to do another Charlie's, but I don't want to confuse the audience yet. I think that would need a little bit of build up so people can understand because I don't want them to go, well, who knows? It could be the same Charlie. I don't know, but it's all meant to be a bullshit story each film.
Yeah.
So it could be fucking aliens in number 2. I don't know. It could be whatever we want. So we'll see. However, what I am doing with Dark Moon is we've created. Here's one other thing I'll let out of the bag. So I am creating a Chris Sun universe. So at the end of Boar, you see the pig get hit by the car and it's dead. There is a scene in Dark Moon where a group of people go into a cave and it goes down into the mud. Think of like Rogue when you go down and there's all the mud and shit, right?
Yeah.
So they're in there and they shine a torch and they see this head of this giant pig, like with all flesh out of it. So these monsters have dragged the giant pig away and eaten it. So I'm tying the universes together. So later on, if I wanted to, I could fucking do whatever. Yeah. Originally in Charlie's Farm, young Charlie Wilson, when Bill Moseley's character says, "Take the scraps out to the pigs." So in Boar, the original script, there's a flashback of young Charlie Wilson going out with all these body parts, and you see come out of the fog this big giant boar, and he just hands it like body parts, and it takes him away. So I was tying those universes together. So now I've worked out a way to tie this whole, slasher monster thing all into one universe, which I'm kind of excited about.
Jesus, that is cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
Just
It's fun.
that nut. I'm loving that. So I'm going to leave you with one more question.
Yep.
What would be advice you would give to a young filmmaker, horror enthusiast who wants to make a movie, wants to get into the industry? What advice would you give them?
Do OnlyFans. No. No. Look, I think, don't listen to the negative motherfuckers out there. Like, if you want to do it, just do it. If me, a guy that knew nothing about motorbikes, can have a motorcycle in the motorcycle museum, a guy that knew nothing about making movies can write a script in Microsoft Word, because I didn't even know what a script program was, and then go and make a film. They come from the truck driver, Jam Factory family, who I'm very proud of, like that's us. If I can do that, then guys, you can do anything. So my advice is, if you got an idea, write it down. You can learn to write a script. Just find information on the internet, work it out, have a look. You can work it out. Write your script. Find a bunch of mates that are really, really passionate and supportive, that support you. Get a camera. If you don't understand what side of the line you need to shoot on, fucking Google it. You can do anything. You really can. The internet now can help us. So my advice is, fuck it, just do it. You got nothing to lose. And the other thing that you can do too is, like the TikTok these days and YouTube, you can create little shorts and build yourself up again, like those guys that did talk to me, huge YouTubers, great experience from that, and now they've made a fucking smashing of a film, like wicked film. So I think the best advice I can give you guys is look, yeah, Chrissy, who's my producer and stuff like that. She's a networker. I'm not a networker. I'm a very withdrawn person. I don't go to network gigs. I don't fucking get out there. But I would encourage you guys to network, get to know people in the industry as well. And just I don't know, just fuck. But don't hound directors and producers because I'll just eventually have to tell you to fuck off.
Yeah.
You have to be gentle in how you do it, but believe in yourself. Those people that say it can't be done, tell them to suck eggs because you can do it, and just have a go. You got nothing to lose. Honestly, nothing to lose. And maybe if you do it in 10 years' time, you'll be sitting here with Yvonne, and you'll be pulling out the movie that she can't get. And saying, that was my first movie, right? Like that's, I mean, how cool is that? That you got someone saying it's so hard to get because it is. If I can do it, legends, fuck, you can too. And I want to see it. So if you've got a movie that you're going to fucking make, go and make it. Fucking tag me. Let me know where I can watch it next year. I want to watch it. I watched a video today. A couple of people that I liked because I love flipping, right? I love going to op shops, buying shit and flipping. I'm fucking addicted. Oh, it's so much fun, right? But two of my favorite little YouTubers, they really bummed me out today because they went into this op shop and they picked up this old B grade movie, horror movie, and they're like, "Oh, look at this B grade horror movie. I'll put that back." And I thought, "Yous are horror fans. For $1, why wouldn't you buy that and watch it?" Because I was like, "Fuck, where do I get that movie from?" So just fucking get out there, make your movies, fucking do all your shit, and hopefully, when these motherfuckers are in the op shop next time, they'll buy it. Because I'm still waiting to find mine. I'm so bummed out. I go in the op shops and I'm waiting to find Boar or Charlie's Farm, and they're not there. I'm waffling now, but get in there. It just bummed me out when I saw it. I was like, guys, that just looks like such a cool movie. But don't listen to the negative people. If you want to make a movie, go and fucking make your movie because you can do it. You honestly can do it. You don't need $1 million. You don't even need you need a little bit of money. And make sure you feed your crew. Yeah, a well-fed crew is a happy crew. Trust me, I know. So feed your crew. But yeah, I don't really know. I think that I just want to see more Aussies or anybody that's watching this show, I guess. But especially young Aussies that are dreamt about it or would want to do it. I just want to see you get up tomorrow and go, fuck it, I'm going to write that script.
Yeah.
Just do it. You got nothing to lose. Don't, and I don't know. It's hard to get your script sold, guys. So the best thing to do is write the script and then just go and make the movie.
Yeah.
That's, what did Quentin Tarantino say? The best film school you can ever do is make a movie.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I'm trying to think I know what I'm doing now.
With what you freaking made, yes, you do know what you're fucking doing.
I'm trying.
Well, thank you so much, Chris, for coming onto the show. There was so much that I got out of that. Friggin' Jesus, I actually did not realize I was going to get such little bits of little crumbs about Dark Moon. So thank you so much for that. And I appreciate your time.
Look, no, I appreciate you having me on there. And I hope that there's, your audience is a little bit entertained, and thank them for listening or watching, however you do the podcast these days. I think everybody watches whatever they do. But yeah, I appreciate you and everybody that supports this industry. Like, we need more people like yourself that support this industry, that there's up and coming directors that you get on your show and give them an opportunity to get their work out there. So, I thank you as well. And of course, all your fans, your listeners out there, I thank you guys because we do this for you. Yvonne does this for you. I do the movies for you. And I just hope that you like them. So I do thank you guys as well. And make that fucking movie, man. Make that fucking movie. All right.
Well, thank you everyone for watching. I would like for everyone to like and subscribe, share this one out because there's some pretty awesome stuff that was in here from Chris. And I'll see you on the next episode. Thanks, guys.